It's been quite some time since I've done an Operation Protect the White Boy or White Woman story, but it's been even longer since I've done one on a woman. But one fell into my lap and I could not let it go unchecked. So in this picture, you see a woman by the name of Melissa Marie Curtis, and she's 32 years old, and she's a former Maryland teacher who was sentenced to 30 years in prison for having sex with her student. But here's the thing, here's where the Operation Protect the White Woman kicks in. While she was sentenced to 30 years, this woman will only have to do 1 year behind bars. Now, I have no definitive reason as of yet as to why that is, which is why we're here to discuss it today, but just know that it's going to be some BS. So let's get into it. A disgraced Maryland teacher who had sex with a teenage student nearly 24 times was slapped with a 30-year prison sentence, but will only serve 1 year behind bars for the crime. Melissa Marie Curtis, age 32, was handed the 3-decade sentence with all but 12 months suspended for engaging in sexual acts with the 14-year-old while she was a teacher at Montgomery Village Middle School in 2015. Curtis, who was 22 at the time, had sexual intercourse with the minor more than 20 times between January and May of 2015. Now, keep this in mind. This woman is 32 now. She was 22 when she did this. Why are they just now giving her this so-called sentence? First off, it's obvious it's a slap on the wrist that she's only doing 1 year when she's supposed to do 30. Number two, it took y'all 10 years to come up with this. Y'all could have just did that back in 2015 or 2016 at the latest and spared everybody the bullshit. Let me continue. They said that she sent it said illicit tryst occurring within the school, in her car, in several residences, including her mother's home in Montgomery County, according to court documents obtained by the outlet. So she was just gallivanting all over the place with this kid. The convicted perv also gave the 8th grader alcohol and marijuana, the Montgomery County Police Department said. Prosecutors said the pair were often left alone after the young teen volunteered for an after-school program Curtis headed. Police launched their investigation in October 2023 when the victim came forward with the abuse allegations. So that's why it took so long, because he didn't come forward at that time when it was going on, and he didn't come forward until last year. So that's why it took them so long. So that answers my question. Well, one of them. Curtis of Upper Marlboro was a teacher for approximately 2 years and had also taught at Lakelands Park Middle School. The sicko teacher turned herself in to police on November 7, 2023. And the thing is, she would have not done it if it wasn't for her former student saying something, and was charged with sexual abuse of a minor and multiple counts of 3rd and 4th degree sexual offenses. She pleaded guilty June 20th to 3 counts of 3rd degree sex offenses, Fox 5 DC reported. The sexual predator is required to register as a sex offender for 25 years and will be barred from having any unsupervised contact with minors other than her own children. I hope this woman doesn't have kids now, and that's the scary part. It's probably some guy out there that's probably messed with this woman, not knowing what she did, and she could have probably gone on and started a family. That's the scary part. Hopefully people out there know of her story and they don't give her the grace of trying to get with her and procreate with her, because this woman not only deserves to not be around other children, she doesn't deserve to have her own kids, in my honest and total opinion. They said the judge also sentenced Curtis to 5 years probation. Wow, she got probation. I mean, I'm sure she'll be able to knock that out, and if they had it their way, they would knock it down. So there you have that story right there. You have this woman who was a former teacher messing around with her student on multiple occasions in multiple locations for several months to a couple, maybe over a year, and she was supposed to do 30 years, but they only gave her a year. And this is after the former student finally said something. Mind you, again, 2015 when this was going on, and the student, her former student, didn't say something until 2023. So you're talking about roughly, 8 years later when it finally came out. And if he hadn't said anything, she would have still been going throughout life. And look at her. She's smiling in her picture. Now, I don't know if this is a school ID picture or a mugshot, but either way, she seems to be very happy about the decision, doesn't she? I guess you would be if you could get a whole 29 years off of a sentence, and all you have to do is a year. And then 5 years probation, and then you can go about your business. Of course, she has to be registered for 25 years on the sex offenders list. So basically, when it's all said and done, when she's about 60 or a little over 60, then she'll be completely expunged from the legal system. That's crazy. But you want to know what's even more crazier than this story? Well, that has to go with this story, but not so surprising, is the people defending her. I actually came across 2 comments that I'm going to go over right now to show you how absolutely ridiculous people are out here when it comes to defending the indefendable. So we have this comment right here by a person whose name is Democrats Suck. That says a lot already. They said women should not be given jail time for being with teenage boys. Term her, take her license, etc., but allow her to move on and get counseling. As a 14-year-old who had a relationship with a 21-year-old woman, so they're talking about themselves, it was awesome and helped me mature faster. The opposite is completely different. A male cannot be physically taken advantage of. Okay, this person sounds like they clearly need some help, and this person, like they said, they just admitted in an open public forum that they were abused by their female teacher and seem to have nothing wrong with it, and are making excuses for this woman because apparently a grown woman messing with a minor is helping him to develop faster and mature faster. But they came right back and said that if a man did it to a woman or to a young girl, then that's not okay. So basically this person is literally making excuses for this woman to do what she did, and that she should not be doing any jail. Well, she's barely doing any jail time. She only got 1 year of what should have been a 30-year sentence. So technically, I don't even really count that as jail time. And this person, this Democrat Sucks person, sir, you need some help. Let's move on to the next comment, the next enabler, I should say. So you have this other one written by MC that says, we can all agree what the teacher did was wrong. However, quote, prosecutor said the pair were often left alone together after the young teen volunteered for an after-school program Curtis headed. Does that not imply that the quote-unquote victim was a willing participant? After all, cannot a 14-year-old boy refuse the advances or run away from the woman? When did the boy finally decide he was a victim? Well, here's the thing. Whether he wanted to do this with this woman or not, the fact of the matter is that she knows what she was doing was wrong, because she knows at the age of 22 she should not have been messing with a 14-year-old. Technically, he's still a minor. He's a minor until he's 18, which means it was 4 more years left before it came to that point where, okay, if you mess with an 18-year-old, it is what it is. It's still kind of creepy considering, but still at the end of the day, she messed with a minor, and it's another person that's making an excuse, and they're basically shifting all of the blame from her, the adult, the grown woman, and putting it all onto the kid who was a child at the time, and making it seem like it was more of his fault, as if like he couldn't have just said no. Well, here's the thing. Whether he wanted to do this with this woman or not, he's not at the age, or was not at the age at the time, to consent to doing what they were doing. So she should have had the wherewithal to not do it with this child. Yes, I called him a child because at the time that's what he would have been referred to as. To do what she did. She knew what she was doing was wrong and had no problem with it. So again, yet as you can see, we have another enabler, and I'm sure there were other ones, but these were the 2 that really stuck out to me. I think everybody else was saying, like disagreeing with what she did and saying that she should have got more time, and disagreeing with what the court said. And even, of course, the typical one I did see is interesting how a lot of, when it comes to a man, if it was a man that did this, he would have got all 30 of those years. But when it comes to a woman, she gets a slap on the wrist. And I've said that several times. Over the years. But like I said, this is Operation Protect the White Woman. This, as you can see, she was protected by the court system, and she was protected by those comments that I just wrote for you. And I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if the people who left them comments were PC just like her. I'm sure the people that let her go were PC as well. They saw this woman and they said, we'll just, let her try to rehabilitate herself. What? Absolutely not. In my opinion, there is no rehabilitation for this. The only thing I feel like they actually got right with this is one, is giving her the title of a sex offender, putting her on that sex offenders list for 25 years. I think that's the only thing out of this whole situation that they actually got right. The 1 year sentence for prison that she should have got 30 years for, they definitely dropped the ball on that one. 5 years probation, what is that? She should have got way more probation if you ask me. But the 25 year, honestly, they should have flipped it. Well, actually keep it the same. 25 years probation and 25 years as a sex offender, if they weren't going to give her the 30 years, which clearly they definitely weren't. And they try to make it seem like it's a win. What? We're sentencing you to 30 years in prison. But guess what? You only got to do 1 year. Then why did you announce that she was going to do 30 years then if you knew she wasn't going to do 30 years? That's insane. But like I said, it wouldn't be an Operation Protect the White Woman if you didn't have cases such as these.